Well, I want to talk to you about parent and child relationships and personality type. So I talked about where I am and what I'm doing here in my last video. You can check that out if you'd like to. But I want to talk about parent and child relationships and why learning personality type is so important to that. And one of the things that it does is it opens up one of the most important things, and that is understanding where the other person is coming from, whether or not it's your parent or your child. It's really important to understand that certain things and certain ways that they're acting and certain ways that they're behaving, certain things that they say and how they say it, that they're not personal. And that can change so much. And one of the things, I had a parent who she was a ISFJ and her daughter was an ENFP. And she would talk to me and say, you know, my daughter is all over the place and she doesn't listen to what I say and she doesn't, follow certain rules. And the mother was very conservative and the daughter was, kind of more of a hippie, more free loving, not concerned about certain things when it came to, how people are and what they believe in. And so for the mother, she felt like for a lot of the years that her daughter was doing this and acting this way to despite her, to kind of be spiteful, and I'm doing it to be the opposite of you. I'm acting this way to make you angry. And same thing for the daughter. The daughter felt like the mother was being so strict with her because she wanted her to be a certain way, to act a certain way, or almost like, you don't like me. You're just doing this to be mean to me and be hurtful. And of course, that wasn't the case for either one of them. And that's the real big thing that you need to understand is the mother is simply pointing out the information and the way that she's learned to live her life, which is I have learned through my experiences. I have learned through how I lead my life that it's best to, have a routine, to understand that if you're kind of too open to things have a way of getting out of control and that can hurt your life. So and I see that you are kind of, with that ENFP daughter, she's looking at her going, you're all over the place compared to how I am. So let me make sure that I teach you my lessons and how I see the world, and maybe even save you from making some of the mistakes I did. And instead of the daughter understanding that, it feels like because they're opposites, because the daughter has the inferior that is the mother's dominant. So the mother's SI dominant, the daughter is SI inferior. So every time the mother is pointing out and saying, hey, you should be more like this, you should be doing more of this, it's actually a trigger to the daughter. So the daughter's going to get very upset because it's a trigger for her. And the same thing when the daughter is like, I'm doing this now, I've changed this about my life, I don't like to be stuck in one place. For her, she's actually triggering the mother because the ENFP daughter is NE dominant and the mother is NE inferior. So watching her daughter do this is just going to make her eye twitch. She's just like, oh my gosh, you're at it again. And if they could understand each other, if they could understand, like, you know what, when you do that, it's triggering to me, and I have to learn to get over that. I have to learn that when you're telling me, the ISFJ mother is telling the ENFP daughter, hey, you should be doing this, you should be doing this, that the mother is not doing that I don't know what that noise is. Some frogs, maybe? But the mother is telling the daughter this to be helpful, saying, hey, you're missing this information, which is true. And you're resisting this information, which is also true. And the same thing for the mother. She needs to learn and go, you know what? Maybe I could learn from my daughter that life doesn't have to be so strict. Life doesn't have to be so rigid. And there are some useful things about learning that in my life and learning to incorporate that in my life. And that my daughter is not doing this in some kind of retribution to me. It has nothing to do with you. That's how your daughter is. That is how she sees the world. And while she may come to learn more about that SI inferior and get kind of more of those rules and those routines in place later in her life, that she's always going to be an ENFP. And wanting your daughter to change, to become more like you, she'll never be that way. She's never going to be an ISFJ. And the same thing for the daughter, to realize about your mother, like, hey, you know what? She's never going to get off your back about those things. She's never going to stop pointing those out. But maybe sometimes listen to her and say, you know what, you're doing this because you're trying to be helpful. And it's not that you're going to do it to just me. You're like that all the time. That's just who you are. And if I can just listen to what you're saying and say, you're doing this to help me. And you know what, I'm not always going to listen. And I may forget. But we're not doing that to hurt each other. That's just who we are. And if we can accept that about each other, we can start having really good communication where we actually listen to each other. And we can accept each other for who we are. And that can be life-changing in a relationship. So if you can figure out what type your parents are and what type you are, and see what it is they're trying to tell you, and that's not personal, and if you're a parent and you can learn what type your child is, you can learn to understand them better and accept them more. And it can change your relationships. And it can be something that's just really beautiful. And I hope that happens for you all. Thanks for stopping by. We'll probably catch up with you more in a few days. Like I said, I got a lot going on, so not sure when I'll make another video. But until then, take care of yourself, and we'll see you in the next one.